That evening at Tidmouth, Gordon was talking about the adventures that he had spent with his brother the Flying Scotsman. He bragged about how famous his brother was, while the others just ignored him. Murdoch, on the other hand, had had enough. "Some of us are trying to get some sleep, you know," he grumbled with one eye open. "Oh, you're just jealous you don't have any siblings to brag about," teased Gordon. "I do," seethed Murdoch. "They might not be famous, but they're just as good as Flying Sausage." "Flying Sauce! Oh, tell us!" peeped Percy. "Oh, no, you don't want to know. Besides, it's dark. We should be getting some rest." "He's not going to stop until you tell," whispered Thomas. "Best just to be out with it." "All right, fine. But only if you promise to go to sleep and not bother me." "Oh, yes, please tell us," chimed the other engines. And this is the story Murdoch told. "I was found by your controller on a heritage railway. Only a handful of my class had been preserved, and I was one of them. Now you all may be familiar with the most famous engine in the family, Evening Star." "Oh, yes," said the engines. "I have a picture of her in my shed," said Gordon dreamily. The other engines just stared at him weirdly. "Well, like the Gresley family, my class was known to be boastful and higher class, but there was one engine that stood out from all." "Who was it?" asked James. "His name given to him at the workshop was the Black Prince, but we call him Nathan. It was much easier to roll off the tongue. Now Nathan wasn't snooty or pristine like Evening Star, or loud and boastful like Morning Star. He was quite the opposite. In fact, it took us years just to get him to talk, and when we finally managed, he barely spoke a word. My siblings found him to be very strange, and they often picked on him for being such. If it wasn't made by the same person as us, no one would think we were related," said Leicester City. "In all honesty, I didn't mind him at all. He was a hard worker, despite his quiet nature. He helped me a lot with the goods work, something my other siblings despised doing. Our class was built for passenger duties, but were also capable of goods work as well. But my siblings hated the thought of it. They thought it beneath them. I didn't mind goods work. I liked taking things slow rather than fast-paced like the express. Nathan agreed with me on that too. He hated the buzz of the passengers, and just genuinely didn't like people besides those he was close with, like his driver and fireman. Although being well acquainted, there was something I could not stand about him." "What was it?" asked the engines. "Ugh, the heavy metal music he'd blast in the middle of the night. All of us would be asleep nice and cozy in our sheds, and then out of nowhere he'd blast some metal, which was very loud and ear-grating. It kept all of us up all night. My other siblings would often tell him off in the morning for making such a racket. Normally, I wouldn't have approved of this behavior, but I myself was getting restless, and just happened to share the shed next to him. "Did he stop?" asked the engines. When my siblings told him to stop with the music, they couldn't tell if he was purposely ignoring them, or if their words were falling on deaf ears, because each night he continued to do it. "It's like banging my head on a wall trying to talk to him. I don't know if he's doing it on purpose or not," groaned Evening Star. Something had to be done about it, and fast. I couldn't bear to take it any longer, so I told the manager, and he had some very stern words for Nathan. "Disrupting my engine's sleep is also disrupting their work. You will stop with this rubbish at once, or you will be finding another home," he scolded. "Or another shed to sleep in," whispered Morning Star. The music stopped after that. Everyone, including myself, was more than pleased. Everything went back to normal, but I couldn't help but notice a sudden change in behavior in Nathan. "What?" gasped the engines. He was late with his goods trains, and was often found sleeping in sidings during the day. My siblings thought this was just normal behavior for him. It's not that they didn't care, that's just how they thought he was. But I knew better, and had to find out what was wrong. One day I saw him shunting his train in the yard. I saw this as a chance to talk to him. I puffed up alongside him as he was backing onto his train. He looked miserable. "Nathan, are you all right?" He didn't say anything at first, and just looked at his buffers. "I know there's something wrong, Nathan. You're not usually late with your goods, and you're definitely not lazy. What's up?" "I didn't mean to keep everyone up at night. I was just trying to get to sleep myself," he whimpered. "So that's why you wouldn't stop," I said. Now I felt terrible, so I immediately went to talk to the other engines and the manager. "You want us to sacrifice our sleep because he can't go to bed like a normal engine?" hissed Leicester City. "There has to be some sort of compromise," I pleaded to the manager. "Headphones," said Nathan. We all looked over at him, who was watching a workman on his lunch break. He was listening to music with his headphones. "You cannot be serious," said Morning Star. "There is no possible way you're suggesting to make engine-sized headphones for a bugger that can't sleep like everyone else," agreed Evening Star. "Well, we'll only be able to hear it, and we won't," said the manager. And so it was done. The first pair of engine-sized headphones in history. Just for him. "That sounds silly," interrupted Gordon. "It does, but it worked." Nathan was much happier after we got him his headphones, and although he was still a bit weird for my siblings' taste, he was still one of the family, and they began to appreciate him for him.